Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. I garden in Zone 8B in Southeastern North Carolina. Gardening in the summer can be very challenging. The amount of heat that we are receiving, especially depending on what climate you live in, it could be way worse than other areas, causes stress on our plants and therefore causes stress on us as the people who take care of them. My plants are struggling right now. Again, I am in Southeastern North Carolina and we are having temperatures that are ranging in the 90s every single day, and our heat index is in the hundreds every single day. The amount of rainfall I'm getting is very little. So even if I have rain predicted at 80 or 90% chance of it happening, it still isn't happening. And so I'm starting to see a lot of things happening. So let's talk about some of the ways that heat stress shows itself in our plants so we can identify it and hopefully help them out. And we're also going to talk about some of the ways that we can help it out. Even if you haven't quite seen it yet and you think it's coming, let's help our plants every way we can. One of the more obvious signs of heat stress that we often see, and our heat stress is very often coupled with lack of rainfall as well. So it is the wilting of our leaves. It is very common for us to see that as the initial part before maybe leaves begin to turn yellow or begin to drop off of our plant. So wilting is one of the things we're going to be looking for and paying attention to. The yellowing of leaves on our plants, which are really going to make the plant drop these leaves that are just dying, that is another sign that your plant is under some heat stress. This tropical hibiscus that I have right here is definitely under some stress, even though it's on my front porch. We have a lot of yellowing leaves, but most of them have already dropped off. But the plant is just trying to tell us, help, I need a little something from you. Something else you may be noticing on your plants is your flowers are expiring before you think they should be. They're just not lasting as long. They are just getting tired and pooping out on us. So if we see a lot of plants that need deadheading right away, that could be a sign that your plant is under heat stress. So another thing with the leaves, so we talked about definitely the wilting, the yellowing, and the drop off. You may see some of the leaves on your plant starting to curl up. They're almost trying to hide themselves from the sun. So it's like, no, don't touch all of me. I need to protect myself. So a leaf curl is a sign, and also some leaf burning. You can see some burn on this plant right here. This is my sweet potato vine. I do have some dead leaves on here as well. That could be, the dead leaves could be part of just normal maintenance, but when the edges of my leaves are beginning to burn, I don't like that at all. Sometimes we push the limits in the light that we are giving plants that may not precisely meet the light requirements that the plants desire. So here I am with my hostas. They're in a sunnier location than maybe they want, but they don't really show me problem signs unless it's like really hot summer like it is now. They look gorgeous in the spring, they look gorgeous later on. Once we get through oh my gosh, these disgusting months, then the hostas are doing fine. But you can see when we talk about some yellowing leaves, but also some burning leaves. You see a lot of these have burnt edges on them. So it's like, oh, my poor babies, how can I help you? So let's definitely talk about some of the ways we could try to help our plants cope with this heat stress. One thing you can really do to help your plants in your flower beds is add a layer of mulch. The mulch is going to help the plants and their root systems retain any water that they do get. So if you can go ahead and do that and insulate those roots a little bit better, help that moisture to stay in there, that is a benefit to your plant. Mulching is one of the things I definitely do to all of my flower beds for that reason. However, let me show you this wonderful example of something that I did not mulch and the way that it is suffering. I had transplanted this red bud tree from an area where it was getting way too much moisture and was not thriving, and I put it here and I thought, okay, this is it, it's going to do amazingly here. But look how it is starting to suffer. These leaves are just burning up. not doing well at all. And one of the things I had neglected to do was mulch the bottom of the area. We do get some brutal afternoon sun in my front yard anyway, never mind these ridiculous temperatures that we're suffering through. So that is something I'm actually going to handle today. Help this baby out and see if we can't get it feeling a little bit better. Something else that we can do that is pretty counterintuitive, I would say, is don't fertilize right now while your plants are suffering, because the fertilizer is going to tell the plants, okay, let's go, new growth, let's pop out some new flowers and all that kind of stuff. But the plants are already suffering. They're already using as much energy as they can to be here and still exist for us like this. So try not to stress them out more by stimulating them and saying, here, promote more growth. Does that kind of make sense? Now, while we might not want to water, one of the other things we can do for our plants is make sure we are watering them as best as we can. Some places may be under water restrictions and things like that. I totally understand. This is why places that get brutally hot or maybe get put under drought and water restrictions really want to have a lot of heat and drought tolerant plants, which I really do in my garden. However, if we can water, let's do it. And let's do it in the evening if we can. Once the sun has gone down for the day, get out there, give your plants a drink, let them kind of recuperate overnight. Maybe your temperatures drop a little bit. Mine really don't here, but at least the sun is not shining and blazing down on your babies. So give them that drink at night, and then hopefully in the morning they're going to feel refreshed. An interesting little bit of information is when your plants are already stressed out, it does make them more vulnerable to disease and also pests. This is a crepe myrtle baby that I had, and my crepe myrtles are particularly sensitive and susceptible to damage caused by aphids. I currently have aphids on this baby right here, but here's something else to note. You don't really want to be using like insecticides and that type of thing on your plants. If you look at the label on a lot of those insecticides, it's going to say like don't use in temperatures over 80 degrees, 90 degrees, whatever it may be, because you have the potential to hurt your plant even worse, maybe burn the leaves, etc. And we really don't want to do that. In the case of this guy right here, I mean, he's a little shriveled up at this point, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to reverse the effects here, but what I'm going to try to do is some Dawn dish soap and water spray. That has been pretty effective on my crepe myrtles in the past in terms of getting rid of the aphids. So I am going to try to do this with this guy and hope that that does the trick. And then if I could keep it, because this one's in a pot, so if I could move it to a little bit more shadier of a location and then keep it watered and fertilized from that point forward, maybe I have a good chance of saving his life. Of course, the truth is that shade is very hard to generate ourselves. I have a full sun property, and all of my flower beds are in full sun. Now, I have planted trees and I am growing trees, but it is going to take quite a while before they're actually providing me shade or providing my plants the relief that they would love to have. So the truth is, I am going to have plants that get burn holes in their foliage. I am going to have plants whose leaves turn yellow, who are wilty and wimpy and curling and all of that. To know that and to understand that is vitally important. I think the main point that I want to leave you with is that all we can do is the best we can do. Our gardens can't be perfect all the time. We just want to help our plants out as much as possible, and therefore help ourselves out as much as possible, make us feel okay. We'll comfort them as best we can in the amount of time that we're able to be outside. Even just filming this video for you, I am sweating. I am just absolutely drenched because it's hot and gross. So I don't really want to go out and do yard work today, but showing you my examples of different kinds of heat stress and maybe the ways we can combat it, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, for your wonderful comments that I receive. I appreciate them so much. And until next time, Happy planting.